Ben Watson here.
And Josh Korn.
And today we're going to talk about cross-country skiing and why you should do it this year. This is your year to start cross-country skiing. I'm a noob at cross-country skiing, but Josh is an expert. And so he's going to be our guide today for just like, what do you need to know about cross-country skiing? So Josh, thanks for being here.
Perfect. Hey, thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So how long have you been skiing for?
Oh gosh, I've been skiing since I was about this tall. I've got pictures from maybe when I was 2 years old in snow pants in the Northwoods of Wisconsin, so long time.
And cross-country skiing is pretty big in the Midwest?
It's big in the Midwest. We don't have these mountains like we have here in Utah, so cross-country skiing is the skiing of choice.
And there's two different disciplines, right?
Correct.
Talk about that, if you would.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Ben said, two different disciplines in cross-country skiing. So you have the diagonal traditional style. So you'll have the two tracks set, cut into the snow, and it's more like kind of a walking motion. So that's typically what you see a lot of people, at touring centers around here doing. They're renting equipment, they're going out, they're doing traditional style skiing. And then there's the second version, which is a skate motion. So that's more like you're roller skating, or you're on ice skating. So it's more of a side to side motion, typically a faster faster motion of skiing, faster technique.
Does that require groomed trails?
It definitely does, yeah. So we're definitely chasing that corduroy. So we're not looking for powder at all, ever, never with cross-country skiing. Machine groomed trails are always our friend.
And in the traditional,
yep.
Is that you can do backcountry stuff?
Absolutely, 100%. You don't need to have cut tracks for that. These particular skis that we're looking at here are all about a 44 millimeter skis, so they're narrow skis, so they don't do very well in powder, but they do very well on groomed, prepared tracks.
Got it. And they also make wider skis for that.
100%, absolutely.
Because there's a lot of gear. So at the base, so show us what's here.
Yeah, we've got a lot of stuff. I brought some toys just to kind of show you guys all the differences. So I guess from a classic ski perspective, let's go ahead and walk through that real quick here. Ben, could you hand me one of those, please? Perfect, thank you. So classic ski. So I brought three different versions. This one's an oldie but goodie, but it's still in the quiver. So you kind of look at the back here. So a classic ski is going to have an area in the middle, right underneath your foot, and there's going to be different types of skis. So I've got a waxable ski here, I've got a skin mohair ski here, and then I've got a gripped ski here, so like a fish scale. So typically, if you're going to go to a traditional Nordic center around here and you're going to rent skis, you're going to rent something like this that doesn't need to be prepared to grip the snow. So those are the three different types of classic skis for the most part. So with regards to...
do you wax this only the first one, and you don't wax the fish scale one?
No, you're waxing, so you can even see I've got wax on these. So you're always waxing the tips and the tails, no matter what. And actually, on this skin material, there are a lot of different spray kind of things that you can add to that. You can add a spray type additive to this mohair as well to make it glide a little bit better. And then with this traditional classic ski here, you're going to be putting a kick wax on. So temperature dependent kick wax comes in little tins that you just cork on here, and it's temperature dependent. So if it's 20 degrees outside, that's a blue wax. You cork on your blue, you go out there and you kick, and you have a really fun time.
So beginners are going to use which one?
We're putting this one 100% away for the beginners. That one's not for them. So you're looking at these two. Now, the skin skis, they've been around for a really long time, but these have just kind of recently become mainstream and popular. So a lot of the companies are going to this type of material. It just glides better and it kicks just as well as this grip ski. So you're going to see both of these. Both of those are going to be types of classic skis you're going to see out there.
And we're in Ogden.
Yep.
So where do we rent these here?
Okay, so up at Ogden Nordic. This year is going to be a little bit weird with COVID, but typically there's a yurt up there that has rental equipment for all ages, all people. It's a really great spot, and that's up in Eden.
Yeah.
Right now, what they're going to plan on doing is they're going to rent equipment on the beginning of the year and just rent it out for the entire year and not have the year to open. So that's going to be your best scenario. So check out.
Better jump on this.
Yeah.
To...
Check out, go to ogdennordic.com and check it out and rent some equipment for the year and have a great time. Like Ben said, it's the year of COVID, and I think it's going to be just really important to be out there and being out in nature.
Okay, and so this is where people are going to start.
Yes, 100%.
And then they're going to move to, let's say someone just loves it.
Yes.
Then they're going to move to something like,
sure.
a different.
I think so. So skate skiing, so basically, I'll rewind just a second. So the major differences between a skate ski and a classic ski, you can see the overall length difference. So discrepancy, I'm typically skiing a ski about 10 centimeters shorter in a skate version than a classic. So back in the day, they always used to say, put your arm up, and right at your wrist is where the length of the classic ski would hit. Now, that's pretty old school. That's not really something that we look at when we're fitting skis anymore. The ski really has no idea how tall they are. It only really knows how much you weigh. So all these skis are kind of flexed based on the camber of the ski is based on how much you weigh, not how tall you are. So that's a misconception all the time. So a skate ski, it's going to be a shorter ski. It's going to be a stiffer ski. And it's meant to be a little bit more maneuverable, so you're in that skate motion, so you're going to be quite a lot wider with how your stance is. So a shorter ski is just going to give you better control and better edging and all of that.
And this stiffer, it's more responsive, gives more energy return.
100%. So something that, if you're coming from alpine skiing, you're going to be always used to having those metal edges. No metal edges on any of this stuff. So it's a little like you get on there and sometimes people are kind of like deer on ice almost. So it's just something you have to be cognizant of and get used to. And on a prepared trail, typically you're able to get a nice edge even with this P-Tex.
Can you, if you were to skate ski on your classic ski, it would just be sluggish and too long, right?
It'd be a little cumbersome, but I mean, you can do it absolutely in a pinch. There's been times when I've gotten to the Nordic Center and I'm like, I wanted to skate today and I only brought the classic skis, for instance, and you can make it work, just it's less than ideal.
And at the Nordic Center, that's a good place to check out skate skiing as well because they groom the trails.
They groom the trails, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Now, Ogden Nordic, it's a challenging place to ski for sure, but there are some lower loops that are a little bit less aggressive that are great for beginners.
And boots. So we have two different types of boots here.
Yes.
This looks like this would be for classic and that's for skate.
Yeah, absolutely. So the main difference between a classic boot and a skate boot, you're just looking at that, it's going to be that cuff. So you remember in that classic motion, we're going straight down the track. So you just need a little bit less of that torsional, lateral type side-to-side movement, a little bit less support in the cuff. So that's the first difference between a classic and a skate boot. The next difference is they're just going to be a lot more bendy, a lot more flexible to allow that, setting of that kick wax and like rolling your toe. Whereas on the skate side, super rigid, torsionally really strong, and just to give you all that good ankle support. Yeah. So those are the two major differences there. But the fit's always the same. I'm the same size boot, so that's really easy. Now, something that I didn't bring actually that I just thought of is oftentimes there's a boot in the middle that they call like a combi boot or a skiathlon boot, a boot that can be used for skate and classic. Yeah. That's a really great solution if you're on a budget and you want to just have one boot that's going to work for both. That's 100% doable, and all the manufacturers make that boot.
Do they do that with skis as well?
Yes, they do, but they're not really great. I mean, a combi ski is something that I think, like coming from the Midwest, a lot of junior kids, a lot of high school kids would have a combi ski. The parents are like, hey, my kid's growing super fast. I just need one ski that's going to get him through the ski season and kind of do both. But I think the best scenario is to have two sets of skis, and if you're looking to save a little bit money, do that combi boot. I think that's the best scenario.
Got it. Poles.
You bet. I got some poles here too.
They're different, right?
They are different. Yeah. So we've got the skate pole here. So this is a 155 centimeter pole, and a classic pole for me, which is 145. So the difference in poles, at least at a racing level, is always 10 centimeters difference. Okay, so how I fit a classic pole, it's right to the top of the shoulder, And how I fit a classic pole, or skate pole, excuse me, is right to the bottom of my lip. Okay, so that's how I fit it. You never want to go taller with this guy. If anything, you can go a little shorter with the classic pole. So if you're going to just kind of get into touring, if you're going to kind of go out there in the Nordic Center, to the Nordic Center and tour around, walk on skis, not put a lot of energy into it, go with something a little bit shorter than that. You know, I would probably drop that down by another 5 centimeters for me if I was just going to go plot around and kind of just be casual with it.
This in the fall of every year, you're transitioning from running to prepping for cross country, getting in shape.
Yeah.
And that's where you pull these guys out, right?
Yeah, that's where we pull out the roller skis. This is a classic roller ski, and what makes it a classic roller ski is it has a ratcheted wheel. So the back wheel will actually ratchet. So if you're thinking about, there again, you're in that, you know, mimicking those classic tracks, you're in those tracks, you're setting that kick down, the wheel ratchets, you propulse yourself forward, all right?
Yeah.
So that's a classic ski. And then on the skate side, no ratchets. We want those wheels fully rolling in that skate motion. So
shorter, quicker, bigger wheels.
Bigger diameter wheels, yeah. 100%.
And you can fly on these things.
You can get going pretty fast. So I've got relatively slow wheels on here right now because the safest place in Ogden to roller ski is on the bike path, and that's pretty flat. So I try to not get going too fast and actually kind of get the ticker going a little bit.
Can you rent these? Is there anyone that rents these things, or you're committed? You love cross country skiing, and you're getting these things.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's something if you're committed, you want to take that next step. You want to be ready for the winter time. Get yourself a pair of roller skis, and they do make combi roller skis as well. So it'll be a wheel that's similar in size to that classic roller ski wheel. It'll have a ratchet, but they'll be a little bit shorter, so there'll be a little bit more that length. So it's kind of that hybrid, which actually works exceptionally well. A lot of people use combi roller skis.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then bindings, they all look the same. Are they all the same?
Bindings are the same.
How do you stop?
Great question. So these ones don't actually have brakes on them. You can get roller skis that actually have pull brakes that kind of come up the back, and you can kind of regulate your speed. So when you're just kind of doing the, you know, reverse kind of pizza here, just to kind of like, just to kind of slow you down coming into a stop sign or something like that. So you always have to be kind of cognizant and thinking ahead about, do I need to stop anytime soon, or can I just keep nuking it here?
So it's not for a beginner. So a beginner's not going to just put these things on and go out.
I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, the trail here, it's safe. You know, you do cross a few roads, obviously, but I mean, for the most part, it's a safe environment. But you know, the pavement just doesn't quite give the same as falling on snow. So if you're looking to just get into skiing, I would say get on the snow for a season at least before, you know, you start messing around with roller skis, and then take it from there.
And what about if you love skiing and you want to do some races? Is there a lot of local stuff to do? Or?
Yeah, I mean, there are some really good races locally. The Wasatch Citizen Series, it's a really great kind of local Park City race series that kicks off in December. They're all doable distances from 5K to 20K, I think, so it's, you know, manageable.
Well, thank you, everyone, for joining us. Thank you again, Josh, for bringing everything out.
Absolutely.
And talking about it. And like he said, if you have any additional questions, feel free to contact us or contact the art at ogdennordic.com.
Absolutely.
Have a great day.
Great. Thanks, guys.